This is not going to be your perfect aesthetic spiritual routine because perfect does not exist. While I do believe that there is some good that can come from these types of videos, they can inspire us, drive us to better ourselves, to create new goals, they are also often toxic because they're unrealistic and they make us measure ourselves up to other people, other people's routines. They make us feel like we're not doing enough. This video was actually requested by a subscriber and it may not be what they expected, but it's what I had to create. Today I am not going to share with you this perfect aesthetic routine, but rather my spiritual flow routine, which is a little bit different. This routine is less focused on doing things a certain way and more focused on my natural cycle. I think it's important to have a spiritual flow routine that aligns with our natural cycles, our natural ups and downs, how we're feeling that day, because we're not going to feel the same every single day. So here is the breakdown of my spiritual flow routine. It entails 3 different sections. The first one are the constants. These are the parts of my routine that are most constant in my life. A day doesn't usually go by without me doing these things. Now, that's not to say that they are in a specific order, that I, do this thing in the morning and this thing comes after and then I do this thing before bed. That's not always the case. It really depends on the day. But these specific practices are very constant in my everyday life. Number 2 is called the inspired day. Now, this is the routine for when I am very high energy, when I'm feeling inspired. These are my really, really good days. I'm doing more elaborate things in those routines, but not every single day is like that because we can't feel inspired and high energy every single day. So that brings me to number 3, the mood lifter routine. This is the flow that I like to follow when I am not in a good place. This is when I'm feeling low energy. Maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm anxious, maybe I'm stressed, maybe I'm burnt out because I've been working myself so hard. So this is the routine that I use to help myself feel better, to renew myself, to recharge myself. So now let's go a little bit deeper. What are my constants? So tarot and oracle cards, those are definitely at the top of this list because a day doesn't usually go by without me pulling cards. Is there a specific time of day that I pull cards? Usually no. Sometimes I feel inspired first thing in the morning. Sometimes I feel inspired to do it before bed. Sometimes it's in the middle of the day when something pops in my head and I need a little bit more guidance, a little bit more clarity. I just like to follow my intuition and whenever I feel drawn to the cards. The next practice on my constants list is cleansing myself and my space. This is a very consistent thing for me. Wherever I've been out in the public world, whatever energies I may have picked up on, I don't want to bring that into my space. So I always make sure I cleanse. Now for me personally, I use sound to cleanse. So either I will use a singing bowl. I often also like to use my rain stick. Those are very consistent ways I cleanse. I also really like to use my protective cleansing spray. It's super easy, it's fresh. I really enjoy it. It does the trick for me, gets rid of any sort of stagnant, negative, low vibrational energy and calls in some beautiful energy. If you guys are interested in knowing how I made this spray, I will make sure to link it below for you guys and at the end of this video. The next constant in my life is definitely tea. Drinking tea and infusing it with my intention, and also being very mindful and intentionally choosing the tea that is right for me in that moment is a big part of my routine. And when I say that, I mean paying attention to what is it I need right now. And then looking at those ingredients, every single herb has a different correspondence. Every single herb has a different healing property, has a different energy. So we can really use that, pay attention to that, and then choose what suits us best in that moment. All right, so I thought I would share with you my go-to teas that I like to drink. Of course, this is not the only tea I drink. We have a lot of other tea bags and other loose leaves in our tea cupboard, but this is my go-to. So the first is spearmint leaves. These are just freshly harvested from our garden that I've tried. I love mint tea. It's one of my favorites. It's really good for a whole bunch of different purposes. Oh my goodness, the birds just got really loud. It's good for headaches. It's good for stomach problems. It's just one of my favorite flavors of teas. I'm also currently using these 2 teas. So this one is the Red Moon Goddess tea. It's almost done. I really like this one. Now this actually has so many different ingredients in it. It has vitex berries, I don't know how you say that. It has fennel, raspberry leaf, dandelion leaf, nettle, lemon balm, and rose hip. The card actually goes over, it's totally bright, there we go, it's kind of hard to see, but the card goes over the reason why each ingredient was included, what it does and stuff. This is definitely tea that's more directed towards, PMS, menstrual cramps, things like that. But it's also good for like digestion and balancing hormones. What else do we got here? Immunity, sleep, anxiety, nervousness, blood circulation, a whole bunch of different things. So I really enjoy this. It's called Moon Sister Tea is the name of the actual company. It's just kind of cut off here because I opened it. Also been recently trying this tea that I got as a gift. I really enjoy it. It's New Moon Tea Co. It is called Root Support Tea. It says in the back, the root chakra is associated with our sense of protection. This is where the foundation of life lies. When the root is balanced, one feels secure, confident, and in flow with their lives. Enjoy our blend of balancing herbs to help support your most sacred self. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's a really good flavor. This one has nettle, oak straw, tulsi, rosemary, dandelion leaf, lemon peel, and lemongrass. Really good blend. And one more thing I want to share with you. It's not technically a tea. It's just like a different type of drink, but I've been really enjoying it. It's by English Medicines. Again, I don't know if I'm saying this right. It's the same company that made the tincture that I've been using with mugwort and catnip. And so this is called Fountain of Youth. It's an energizing, adaptogenic mushroom chai. So you're actually supposed to mix this. So you mix about half a cup of plant milk. I like to use almond milk with half a cup of water and then 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of this chai mix. And then you can add a little bit of like honey or maple syrup for like a little bit of sweetness, whatever you prefer. I always make sure it's hot enough and that I'm whisking it enough. That way it blends. Otherwise you tend to get a little bit kind of collecting in the bottom of the cup. But it's really good. It's like this really nice chai spicy mix. It's very cozy. Definitely fits the fall winter season a lot. It has, is it maca? M-A-C-A? Because I don't think that's matcha. Matcha's with this an H, right? Anyways, it has some other mushrooms that I literally don't even know how to pronounce. Eleutherococcus, Photai, Cordyceps, reishi. So yeah, mushrooms, which actually if you go on their website, they break down everything. Like I checked out the website and it tells you what everything is, what it like does, the benefits, everything. It has also cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, allspice, clove, nutmeg, and white pepper, but it's so good. Anyways, I just wanted to share with you what I'm using right now. Let's get back to the video. The next constant on my list is singing and sound healing. I love this. It makes me feel so connected. It relaxes me, and this can manifest in so many different ways. Sometimes I'm singing along with music that I am playing on my phone. It could be, you know, some sort of spiritual playlist on Spotify. Sometimes it's more instrumental music, and I like to just honestly intuitively flow and just kind of ad-lib. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mylan on YouTube. She does these beautiful channelings with music and sound frequency, and I love her work, and I love to listen to her, and I love to sing along. And I don't know exactly where she's gonna go with it because she ad-libs it, but what I'll do is I'll like sing along and I'll harmonize, and sometimes I'll just kind of do that myself with some sort of backing track, and I just let it flow. I find it really opens my throat chakra. It really relaxes me. I absolutely love it. That, singing along with mantras, playing music, whether it's playing music on my guitar, you know, using my rain stick, various instruments that I have in my room, whatever I'm feeling drawn to. But music is definitely a big part of my spiritual routine, and I try to do this every single day because it really does uplift my vibration, my energy. It makes me feel really good. So highly recommend it if you haven't tried doing those things. My next one is working with crystals. Working with crystals is definitely a big part of my daily routine now. It wasn't always. I've been collecting crystals for a long time, and I've loved their energy in my space, but it isn't until fairly recently, I would say this past year, that I have been really working with their energy, and that involves, you know, using them in meditation, carrying them around with me. Sometimes I just feel called to hold a specific crystal while I work or whatever I'm doing. I've been sleeping with crystals a lot more lately too, especially more so my palm stones because they're very smooth, they're easy to hold. I'll like keep one under my pillow, but working with crystal energy has been very healing for me recently. These things you can't schedule, you can't plan these things to a T. It has to feel good, it has to come from the heart, it has to come from the intuition. So that is definitely a constant in my daily routine, but it's whatever I feel called to use in that moment. Podcasts are a very big constant in my spiritual routine. I love listening to spiritual podcasts about witchcraft, anything that can, better me. I love listening to podcasts that are specifically focused on meditation too, and frequency channeling frequencies. Honestly, I've been really getting into light language lately, and I'll listen to different light language transmissions. Usually when I'm going to bed, I'll do like a little bit of a meditation before bed. So that is something that's, I guess, a little bit more consistent for me. It's usually around bedtime, but it's interesting because I have to say, and I'll be 100% honest with you guys, light language is one of those things that my mind has been fighting a lot. The first time I saw it, I was like, what is this? Speaking in tongues? Like, I thought it was crazy. I thought it was loony bins. I'm like, okay, this is a little too woo-woo for me, right? And I'm woo-woo. Like, I work with magic. I am a witch. But light language was something that was very difficult for me to grasp and for me to digest. And I was like, I think this is just crazy. People are just like saying weird things. People are just like spewing random words and making stuff up. I don't believe this is real. But I have to say, and I have to admit, in the last couple of months or so, I've been strangely drawn to it. And I have found it weirdly relaxing and powerful. And I've been listening to these light language transmissions a lot in my everyday life too, during the day, mostly before I go to sleep. But I've also kind of been playing with it myself too and trying it myself. And at first nothing was coming through because I was getting too in my head. I'm like, this is just BS. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But it's kind of starting to flow. It's kind of starting to come. But anyways, that kind of goes along with podcasts too, because there's a lot of podcasts on Spotify that are specifically about light language and will do meditations and transmissions, and I am frequently utilizing these in my practice. Using potions. So using potions has very much been a big part of my practice in the last maybe 5 or 6 months. There's certain oil blends I've had for quite a while, but it is only recently that I've felt this really big connection and felt very drawn to working with the water element. So I thought I'd give you a little tour of my current potions. So these are just the things that I'm currently using. I have this on my little altar right now. I have this little Hocus Pocus oil blend by Wonderlust Botanicals. This contains lemon, neroli, cardamom, orange, patchouli, and garnet. You can actually see the little pieces of garnet in there. It smells so good. I love it. I use that, honestly, just whenever I'm feeling it. I wouldn't say any particular purpose. Like, it's kind of just like one of my go-to oils in general. Over here, I have my protective cleansing spray. I also have this flower essence. It's called Emergence Tonic by the Potion Lady. I did this course a while back. It was called The Witch Wound. One of the ladies that was involved in this whole course, she created different flower essences and stuff, and we got like a witch kit type thing that was mailed out to us. So this was one of the things I got, and it's just called Emergence. If I feel like I need to really speak my truth, emerge, I guess. Something that's like a little bit more empowering, like really tuning into my divine feminine goddess energy, I tend to gravitate towards this. I have a couple other ones that are just like, that aren't really labeled, that she sent to us, but just different flower essences. These ones don't really have any words like to go along with them, any specific purpose. I just use them intuitively. So if I feel called to use one, then I'll use it. I also have this really nice essential oil blend that I love. I got it at a kind of like a witch show. It had different vendors and stuff. The name of the small business is The Angelic Alchemist. You can find her on Instagram. This one is called Queen the Mind. You can kind of see it's not wanting to focus very well, but there's like some herbs and stuff in there. This one's lavender, lemongrass, clary sage, dried peppermint leaves, and cinnamon sticks. And it's just like a really nice roller oil. I love it. It smells good. Again, just kind of like an empowering type oil. All right, so by my bedside table, I have a couple different potions. So this is my psychic oil that I created in one of my videos, so you guys can actually see it if you want to know how I made this. But yeah, I just use this for like dream work, psychic, intuitive work, things like that. I also keep this on my bedside table. I've showed it to you in another video, but it's the Salish, medicines, vision and spirit with mugwort and catnip. So I'll add some of this usually to a tea before I go to sleep, and it's good for like dream work, intuitive work, things like that. Yeah, that's what I'm currently using and kind of what I'm using them for. Another thing that I do daily, which is actually very simple, is I like to interact with / shake my spell jars. Any sort of spell jars that I have around in my space, so the energy doesn't go stagnant, so the intention is continually being poured into them, so that magic can continue to work. I am interacting with these spells. So I've got some spell jars in my room. I have one on my desk downstairs, and I just like to interact with them. So that is another thing. Again, it's not like I do it at a specific time each day, it's just whenever I feel called to. Now, in my constants list, I've also included a list of goals. Now, these are the items that I want to be constants in my life. But I'm struggling with it a little bit because I'm not perfect. Yoga in the morning. This is something that I've struggled with. It's kind of been an on and off thing. I'd love to get to the point where I can do yoga every single morning before I start my day, or at least 5 days a week. But I'm not quite there yet, guys. I am not a morning person. I really struggle to get up early. But yoga is something that I definitely want to improve on. I want it to be a constant thing, or at least moving my body. It might be yoga in the morning. It might be a little bit of dance. It might be some other type of workout. But I want to start my day with that because I know that during the day I get so wrapped up in my work, I get so wrapped up in all the other things I need to get done that I'm so tired by the end of the day. I'm so drained. I have to make myself some food and stuff, and by that time I just don't feel like working out. So I definitely need to do it in the morning. Another thing I really want to be a constant in my routine is reading every single night before bed, or at least 1 hour a day. For me, reading has very much slacked this year. I'm not gonna lie. I have all these books I have not finished, and I want to finish them. It's not that I don't want to read, it's that whenever I do go to read, I'm so exhausted from everything I've been working on. I've been giving and giving so much of myself that I am so physically tired that I start reading and I start to fall asleep. So maybe it needs to be finding better balance, allowing myself to spend time on my practice for myself and less for other people. And the other goal for my constants list is going for more walks. I love going for walks, and it's not that I don't enjoy it, it's that I'm working myself too hard, that I can't drag myself away from my computer enough to just take a break and go for a walk. Or B, it's cold out and I refuse to leave the house, which is something I need to work on because I can't go the entire winter season, spend that entire season inside. It's not healthy. So I need to bundle up and I need to get my butt outside and just go for a walk. So now let's move on to the second type of routine, which is my inspired day. Now, I just want to first note that the inspired day often includes things from the constants list. It is just a day that I feel extra inspired, so I'm usually doing even more things than just the constants. So on an inspired day, this is usually when I'm doing more elaborate spells and rituals because I have the energy to do it. Usually on an inspired day, there's something in the back of my mind that I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm like, I've been wanting to do this spell, or I've been wanting to create this potion. Now's the day to do it. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling motivated. These spells and rituals can honestly happen anytime, but usually I am doing them more so in the evening. It's usually when I've kind of finished my day of work and things like that. I've had something to eat. I'm just kind of in a more relaxed mood, but also I still have the energy. On an inspired day, I'm usually more active too. So I'm usually going for more walks, foraging, gardening if it's the season for it. Obviously it's too cold now, but on a nice summer day, I'm outside, I'm in the garden, I'm tending to it, I'm collecting herbs from it, thanking the earth, really just enjoying the outdoors. Sometimes I actually do rituals in my backyard too. Neighbors can spy and judge all they want. I do love doing rituals in a very outdoor, beautiful atmosphere. On an inspired day, I'm usually more likely to journal too. Journaling was a little bit more consistent for me in previous years. I'm not gonna lie, I've really slacked with journaling this year. Again, it's just been an exhaustion thing where I'm just so busy that I'm just tired and I don't feel like writing. I've kind of just tried to be understanding of that, not beat myself up too much. I've just been allowing myself to journal when I feel very inspired to. I'm doing some sort of in-depth practice and I feel like reflecting on that, so I'll write it down. My inspired routine also includes study, because this is the time where I'm most excited about my practice. This is the time when I want to learn more. And study can look like so many different things. It could be me writing things down that just like came to me. I'm like, oh, like I never thought of that way. And just like those moments of, I guess, genius that we get where we feel like we're channeling things. Paying attention to those. It could be reading. It could be watching other content from other creators, and it definitely helps me in my own practice because I pick up on new things. I learn new perspectives and new techniques and new information, and I love that. And finally, in my inspired routine, this is usually the time when I am doing a deep cleanse, a deep clean. And I mean like taking everything off my shelves, dusting it down, vacuuming, reorganizing maybe, moving things around. And this is not just a cleanliness thing, this is an energetic thing. When we don't take care of our space, when it becomes dusty, when it becomes cluttered, energy gets stuck. There's no flow, there's no movement of energy. So I love taking the time to do this when I have the energy to do it, and it just feels good. And I'll also do like an energetic cleanse too. And now we move on to number 3, the mood lifter routine. So this is a more restful routine. This is way more free flowing because I'm allowing my space to move through whatever low vibrational, heavy energy that I'm dealing with in that moment. So I'm usually giving myself time to rest and reflect, really tuning into my body, to whatever's coming up, my emotions, and trying to understand where is it coming from. Where is the energy feeling stuck? Because usually when you're not feeling so great, you can feel it in your body. Like, is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? What's going on? So I like to take the time to tune into these things, and I work through these motions. The next part of my mood lifter routine involves using potions specifically for that purpose. So if I have anxiety, I'll use my salve that I created for anxiety. So I actually created this on camera too. So if you guys want to know how to make a salve for anxiety, recipes up there as well. But it smells so good. It smells like beeswax and lavender. It's not as pretty as it was when I first made it because obviously I've dug in there pretty well. But yeah, this is something that I use specifically when I am not doing so well. This is part of that routine. Tea. Again, one of my constants, but a big part of my routine for my uplifter routine because it is very relaxing, it's very calming, and there are teas with specific ingredients that are really good for relaxing you, like chamomile, for example. Now, I mentioned that this is not a constant for me like it used to be, but journaling is definitely one of those things that I try to do when I'm having a rough period. Sometimes it flows and it's really good for me in that moment. It really depends on where I'm at. Allowing yourself to move with where you're at and be forgiving and understanding and doing what you feel called to in that moment and what's going to help you move through that. Music, another big healing thing. Another thing that's on my constant list, but it definitely does weave its way into my mood lifter routine because music is very healing for me and it's very powerful and it's just very helpful when I'm in these times of depression or anxiety, whatever it is. It has a way of taking my mind off the issue, not to avoid it, but to make it less intense. Instead of being in it and anxious, it pulls me back from this viewpoint of I can observe my feelings, I can observe what's happening, so then I can come back to the problem with a new clarified mind. It does wonders for that. Pulling an oracle card, a big part of my mood lifter routine. Again, it's a constant, but it also interweaves itself there because it is very relaxing and it's very helpful for me. Now I say oracle card, usually I'm not using tarot when I'm in this place because tarot can kick your butt a little bit. Not all tarot decks, not all the time, but I definitely use my oracle more when I'm in this state of mind because they're a little bit more fluffy, they're a little bit more hold your hand, they're a little bit more gentle with you. So I definitely like to use that. I use my more gentle decks during this time, which if you guys haven't seen it, I do have a video on my gentle decks that I'll link below for you guys. And these are the decks that I use when I'm in this state of mind, when I'm having a rough time. And then finally, fresh air. Fresh air is another big thing for me. Opening a window if I can't get myself out of my room, at least. But like going outside, sitting on the porch or going for a walk or something like that. Fresh air is definitely very healing. Being out in nature is definitely very healing, and it's really helpful when you are in these really negative states of mind. So that's kind of what that looks like for me. So as you can see, I don't have an exact routine. My spiritual routine is freely interwoven into my mundane routine because that is just what works for me. And I don't think we should beat ourselves up if our routine doesn't look perfect like in other YouTubers' videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even if it wasn't exactly what you expected. I hope it inspired you in some way. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like. I really appreciate it. It helps out my channel a lot. And don't forget to subscribe if you feel called to, because I put up new videos every single week and I wouldn't want you guys to miss out on them. I hope you have a beautiful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye guys.